Hi everybody, I'm Jessi Stone. Welcome to this very special episode of Bitch and Wine. I am solo tonight, drinking some red wine on my back porch, enjoying this beautiful fall day. But it's been kind of a solemn week for women everywhere, learning of the passing of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I think she's been an inspiration to all of us, no matter where we fall on the political spectrum. She's been such a pioneer. I know she's been one of my sheroes, as I like to say. I've got her with me today, my cute little lapel pin that I picked up in Washington, D.C. on my last trip. So this week I wanted to reach out to women in the community and hear their thoughts and what they will remember about RBG and the impact that she's had. Obviously she's known for being a pioneer of women's rights, but I see her as being a pioneer of human rights. And she is just the example, the epitome of an overachiever. She's never given up on her dreams. So whether you agree with her positions or not, I think she can be an inspiration to all of us, that we keep working hard, we keep pushing, we keep fighting for what we believe in, and let her be an example to all of us. So this week's Bitch and Wine is going to be a montage of video messages and quotes that women have given me, and I hope you find some inspiration in it. We wish all, we send all of our love to her family and loved ones. But this is a big loss for our country. But I'm very thankful for all the work that she's done through her 27 years on the bench, and even her years before that, fighting for women's rights and equal rights. And so please enjoy this montage, and I might not see you next week. I will be on a road trip out to the Grand Canyon with my husband. So unless I find some wonderful stranger in a campground to do a video with me, I might pass the baton off to my Rumble cohort, Susanna or Hannah, and see if they want to do a Bitch and Wine episode. So you might see them next week, or you might get me out at the Grand Canyon. Either way, I hope you all have a beautiful week and enjoy this beautiful weather we're having, and I will see you when I get back. Cheers, everyone. Take care of each other.
So sitting up here on this mantle is Ruth Bader Ginsburg, aka RBG. She's sitting beside my mother, and yes, that is a tiara beside her because I feel like she was quite the queen to all of us, and as I feel that way about my mother as well. Up on this top section, I have the Scale of Justice, and I have two other women. This one over here who represents all women's rights, and this one to my left, you may recognize, is Lucille Ball. You may ask, why Lucille Ball? Well, Lucy was the first woman on TV to be pregnant, so that led the way for others, and I think too many times we don't look at the small things that people do. But back to Ruth. We've lost a huge personality, a little person, but a huge personality who did many great things. She didn't just care about women's rights. She didn't just care about men's rights. She cared about people's rights, all people. And that made her pretty special. And we've all heard the quote that she said, fight for what you care about. And that is true, but the end of that quote says, do it, but do it in a way that will make others join you. And Ruth did exactly that. She first initially fought for men's rights and went in front of the Supreme Court in front of 9 male justices and fought for the rights of a man to have family leave. And by doing so, she was able to later she won that case, to bring that case up in trying to help women along the way. So she kind of backdoored those justices and made them a part of a movement, and they didn't even know it. So that's pretty cool. But I mean, there's so many things that she's done, and we should all be so thankful for her. Men, women, everyone. Our country has really lost out. It's a sad time, but a time to be thankful. Because of her, we have moved forward. And I just want to say thank you, Ruth, and Godspeed.
I'm Angie Schwab, the former executive director of Folkmoot and now a partner in a development organization called Beerus Chalmers Creative. There are lots of reasons why I admire Ruth Bader Ginsburg. RBG was appointed to the Supreme Court back when I was graduating college and looking for a job in coastal geology. I was one of 3 women in our program, and I saw RBG as an example of a woman that had beat all odds to achieve her goals, and she was the second female on the Supreme Court, and I was inspired by her. RBG stood for the idea that we can be whatever we want to be, and that we can aspire for the unconventional, and under the law, we will not be discriminated against on the basis of sex. And through her work, she made sure that gender was not a barrier for us to achieve our dreams. If you don't think that this is an issue in our country, you might be out of touch. You should probably talk to a woman who has been striving for leadership, and you might learn more. I admire so many things about RBG, and there's one other thing I should mention at this time of division and partisanship. Ruth Bader Ginsburg worked with other justices who had profoundly different views than her own, and with great skill and sophistication, she found consensus on issues of people I can't imagine finding common ground with, and we need more of that right now. RBG was a rock star and a modern day heroine, and a profound woman who loved her family and made our country better, and she turned her fears and misgivings into something productive. She had a meaningful life, and I admire that.
Rest in power, RBG. To me, you were someone that exemplified how you can be your own person, and how your strength can come through your intelligence and your mind, and how you advocate for your community, and how you use your skills and your passion and your drive and your persistence to make the world a better place for other people, and how it looks different for your path than somebody standing at the front of a picket line. So thank you for using your gifts and empowering us and putting us all in a better position for the future. Rest in power. We will miss you.
The right to vote, every modern right, except the right to vote, we owe to Ruth Bader Ginsburg as an attorney first, before she was a Supreme Court justice. And I just want to also say she's my hero, because she was not only all those wonderful things professionally, but personally. She was a wife, she was a mother, she did it all. She was a good friend, she was a loyal friend to Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, who was conservative, Justice Antonin Scalia, who was conservative. You didn't have to share her political views for her to respect you, and for her to sit down and dine with you and commune with you and fellowship with you, and try to make America a better place with you. So I feel like we could all come together. We could all learn from her example now more than ever. And I think that her death is going to have meaning. I would like for it to have meaning just as much as her life did. In that, I hope this will be a wake-up call to people to go vote. Really, really vote, and vote your heart and vote your conscience, and have a plan to vote. Vote up the ballot. It'd be wonderful if we could start with the down ballot races, because all of your local races really affect your day-to-day lives and are really so important, equally, if not just as important as your top of the ballot.
Hi. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg meant a lot to me, not only because of what I learned that she'd done in the past, but because she was so widely talked about in my history classes for what she had done. And it was always just kind of an example that not only did we as women get over that oppression and have someone still living who helped fight that oppression, but it shows that it wasn't that far in the history, and that we're still fighting it, because it's not like it was 100 years ago. She's still alive. Well, she was, rest in peace. But it was always a living example when people would be like, well, that's so far in the distance. that it wasn't as far as they thought, because the main person who helped fight that oppression was still alive. And what she did when we talked about it in history class was always, it was just extraordinary what she was able to do, and her mentality to never give up and to never quit. It was very inspiring, and it inspires a lot of the ways that I handle political issues when talked about with my friends or family.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg inspires me every day. As a woman working in public health policy, the way I carry myself in the professional world is more confident and self-assured because of her actions and words. I know that what I bring to the table is valuable, even in spaces that are male-dominated. I've also watched the way RBG has empowered the women in my life, and I know her legacy has left a lasting impact and will continue to shape how we take up space in this world forever. I've learned to trust myself and my beliefs because of her, and to always believe that things can and will change, but I have to be part of that fight for change. I tell myself often something that RBG has taught us all. Women belong in all places where decisions are being made.
RBG, like, where do you start? She was the first person that I knew name-wise in any sort of justice position or in any government position that wasn't like a local senator or, you know, the president, the vice president, that type of person. And I was automatically impressed when I read about her the first time, and I thought, wow, this woman is such a force to be reckoned with. And it's so funny because she's a tiny little woman, and I really identified with that. And, you know, I can buy a house without a man, and I can get birth control without a husband. And those things happened within her lifetime, which was just a generation ago, right? And that's just insane to me that it was so close. But her legacy is so much more than that. And I really identified with her as an adult because I work in a male-dominant field in a very male-dominant organization. And there were times, more than a few, that I wanted to say, you know what? I quit. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I want to go somewhere where it's easier. And then I would think about her, and she never had it easy. Not one single step was easy, but she didn't give up. And for me, that's the way to honor her legacy, is to not give up, even though it feels hopeless without her. She was like our last saving grace. But if I give up, then all she did was for naught. And so even though I was absolutely devastated, I'm talking weeping, to the point where my 9-year-old son came in and told me that it was going to be okay. I cried more when she passed away than most of my family members who have passed away, because it was just this devastating loss for the country and the world, really. So my way to honor her memory is to keep the fight up.
For me, the loss of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, is profound or should be profound for every woman, man, and child, because we've lost not only a shining example of how a person should persevere through life. She was always such a distinct figure for me, because I feel like I bonded with just her stature. She was small but mighty, and I'm a small person, but I'm filled with a vigor and a passion, and sometimes that can be misread. And especially as a woman in the workforce, I'm often told in my job to calm down, or to curtail my passion. It's mentioned in my evaluations often that you're just so passionate. And that is turned into a way of pushing me down or making it a derogatory term. I tell people, you could live your life with a third of my passion. Because if we don't live this life with any amount of passion, why are we living it? If we don't do anything with passion, why do it? And she was that way. She you knew when she was doing something, she was doing it with full force. And I loved that about her. I still think that it is amazing that we had that type of champion. The world had that type of champion. Young ladies had that type of example. Young men had that type of example. People had that type of example. We need more people to do those types of things. And I think that we could all take a chapter out of that book of living our life to the fullest. She did so many great things that we could list off a laundry list and people could find fault with it. But what you can't find fault with is the way she fought. And that is, for me, the one thing that I think I'll miss the most is that scrappiness, that bite, that fight. I don't think we'll have, in my generation, in my life, I don't think I'll see another person who resonates with my soul the way that Ruth did. I'm sad. My heart mourns for everybody, for my nation, because we lost a true patriot in her, and I'm sad. But may she fly high, may she find peace. And may her family know that, I think she fulfilled her life's purpose. She left a lasting legacy, and that is something to be most proud of.